Shalom, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Sorry for the delay this morning. All right, beautiful people. So let's get right to it today. It is Monday, April the 10th, 2023, day 13 of year 5 of reading through books, laws, and prophets. And of the 5-year consecutive day count, it is day 1396. Today, listen, I know some people go back to work. Some people observe it as a holiday today. You know what? I think I want to observe it as a holiday today because I ain't got nothing going on today for real anyway. So, but if y'all got to go to work, be mindful this time. Go to work. Remember, you can always come back here because this is recorded. But I said all that to say we're going to start back in Owaspy tomorrow for the first part of the reading. Let's go ahead, and since this is, some people are observing today as Easter, even though it was yesterday, if you celebrated, whatever, bunnies, eggs, whatever. We're going to read all the secret Nazarite scroll again today for the whole time that we're here. So with that being said, we paused at verse at the end of 241, but I think I want to go back. I want to go back to page 115 and go back to verse 222. Yeah, 222. Okay. So with that being said, Father, we thank you for an expansion of understanding. That's kind of like a play on something we already said, but nevertheless, it's still good. An expansion daily. We expand our understanding. All right, beautiful people. Dawn, what's good, sis? Greetings, Vanette, Ahuba, Hannah, Audrey, Global Purpose, Avia, Zachary, Yahoo, Nazarene, and Sing, Jamia, Kendrick, Tabitha, Kings and Queens Coaching Group, Derek, Trina. Hey, y'all. Hey, just me, and everybody else here already hanging out in the background. Top of the day to y'all today. So let's go ahead and get started. So yesterday, so real quick recap. We were learning about the sincere and steady progress of Omna, which is not understanding, it's instruction. And when you develop in instruction and you are consistent and you're diligent with it, you will begin to unlock the 7 seals that are located on the inside of you, which will ultimately unlock your true purpose for being here. And then all those things that you seem to have struggled to do over the years will literally just bloom into people. It's going to look like overnight, but it's been a long time coming, right? So this yesterday was absolutely amazing as it was going through how to unlock each of the chakras. And I forgot to share what I said I was going to share yesterday. I'm going to do it today. I got to go back. I got, family day and everything. I just kind of put everything to the side. So I'll share that stuff today. If you didn't get it, where you can get the chakra charts from Amazon and the stuff by Santos Bonacci. Some of y'all probably already looked them up anyway. So that's kind of like a really quick background of what we read yesterday, and also by bowing low in humility. The top of your head, which is the cold code. When you bow low, you are actually raised high, and you're crowned with the Kether, the true crown, and not just like a physical crown, but a spiritual crown of wisdom and understanding. Hold on, y'all. Let me get some water. My grandbaby, the last couple of days I've been trying to keep this sniffling and stuff and juicing. He came over here and he sneezed and he got me. Oh my gosh. And look, as soon as he did it, you would have thought I was attacked by bees or something. Because, hold on, let me see. When he was right here, I was wiping his nose, and when he sneezed, a droplet hit me in the face, and you would have thought I had got stung by bees or something, because I knew even a droplet, even if just a droplet touches you, I don't even know how it's possible. I'm sure there's a science on why it happens. I was like, oh no, I dropped everything. Dirty ran him over like, boy, get out the way. Ran to the sink, got dishwashing detergent, doing like this and putting it all on my face. Like, it was only like seconds. But even those seconds, that wasn't good enough. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So y'all been hearing me sniffling and and I've been juicing. So I'm like, man, this is crazy. So be careful. I'm like, we're gonna have a darn full what do they call that gear when you go into hospitals, like um people that are infected with something, they put on all these masks. You need more than just this, everything. Look, you know what, y'all can't come this weekend. Is anybody coughing? Anybody sniffling? All right, let's get started. Go to page 115. Some zinc. I got some. I haven't taken any. I will have to eat something. Zinc sometimes messes with my stomach. So I just, most of the time, I just go straight to my. You know what? I got some bitters from Yaki in there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and boil those. All right. All right, y'all. Verse 222. We're on page 115. Behold the path of Yehud ex Chaim, one path of 14 Yah. Keep saying Yah. Yehudim. And remember, Yehudim is reference 38, and it says Yehudim, Yihudim, is the Nazarene plural form for the word yoga, thus yogas. Behold the path of Yehud ex Chaim, one path of 14 Yehudim. The 14 Yehudim are 1. Yehud Im Chokmah, which is union with wisdom. And that's reference 39. And it says the Hebrew term Yehud Im Chokmah means union with wisdom. The Im means with, and Chokmah means wisdom. A simpler method by which modern Nazarenes list these yogas is to drop the Im and consider it implied. Thus, Yehud Im Chokmah becomes Yehud Chokmah, and Yehud Im Ahaba becomes Yehud Ahaba, etc. Also, because it fits the English mindset better, we often flip-flop the words. Yehud Chokmah becomes Chokmah Yehud, or wisdom yoga. Yehud Ahaba becomes Ahaba Yehud, or love yoga. All right. The number 3, Yehud Im Kowak, union with power. Yehud Im Shalom, union with peace. Yehud Im Maseh Kodesh, union with holy work. Yehud Im Keya Olam, union with eternal life. Remember, Olam means life. Yehud Im Yahweh, union with Yahweh. And that's reference number 40 after the tetragrammaton Yahweh. Yahweh here is pronounced Yahweh and serves as one convenient word to signify both God and Goddess transcendent, Jah and Jala, and God and Goddess imminent, Jade and Jana. Number 8, Yehud Im Simcha, union with joy. Yehud Im Chaim, union with life. Yehud Im Adama, Yehud Im Adama, union with soil. Yehud Im Oretz, union with Mother Earth. Yehud Im Ruah, union with air. Yehud Im Mayim, union with water. And the 14th one is Yehud Im Shemesh, or union with sun. Behold, the practices of the Yehudim, or yogas, are taught in sessions of the Omnah, and the names and functions of the overseeing cherubim of each branch and root are given in Omnah. And many other mysteries of the tree of life will be revealed in Omnah to those who seek. Yea, even how to sit upon the mercy seat and ride it as a throne chariot will be revealed, for the seeker shall find. And yesterday when we read over this part, I read those 2 verses from the chamber of prophecy that Owaspi has. It's literally saying the same thing. Like, if you're diligent enough and you find yourself at the foot of the throne, no need to help them, because they're going to find the way to mount it, right? It's a part of your training, a part of your growth. The seeker will find the wings of the cherubim and the branches and the roots, and will ascend the tree. And the seeker will find the star of 6 points amongst the roots and circle it with the tap root. And the seeker will find the star of 6 points amongst the branches and circle it with the 7th branch. And the seeker will make the 2 stars and sit in the center upon the throne chariot. And when the seeker ascends the seventh branch and shares his ripe fruit with the hungry, lo, he will touch heaven most high. Also, a real quick note. Yesterday when it talked about this, it was going through the Pharaoh, Sapphira. Yeah. This was telling you that as you unlock the Pharaoh or the Sapphira within you or along your spine or within your chakras as you clean them up, that after you unlock each one, there's a certain fruit that's produced from it, and you can eat from it, eat from that tree of life yourself, and you can also share that fruit with others. If you go back, I'm not going to read it today, but it was really, really good. It's on pages 113 all the way to 115, right to 221. It ended, well, it didn't end, but it's going on further. But to go into detail about that, the first 7 and how they're unlocked and what they release and where they're located in your body. Let's see, the 7th is at the top of your head. The 6th is found at your forehead. Clearly, you know, if you understand the chakras, but it's letting you know and which the root and the branch that's there. Let me just kind of give it to you real quick. Verse 210, behold the 7th Sephiroth within you. The 7th Sapphira is formed by the center branch and the center root and is found at the top of your head. The 6th Sapphira is formed by the branch of wisdom and the root of air and is found in your forehead, or the third eye chakra, what they call it. The 5th Sapphira is formed by the branch of work and the root of life and is found at your throat. The 4th Sapphira is formed by the branch of love and the root of water and is found at your chest. The 3rd Sapphira is formed by the branch of peace and the root of joy and is found at your stomach. The 2nd Sapphira is formed by the branch of eternal life and the root of soil and is found at your genitals. And the 1st Sapphira is formed by the branch of power and the root of sun and is found at the base of the spine. So if you go back there and read those ones, that the verses that are before that, it gives a better understanding of all of this and the fruit that's produced in it. You can start at verse 187 all the way down to 206, and it says that as you begin to unlock all of those, verse 204 says, yea, the 7th Sephiroth upon the spine of the tree of life, because it's also our endocrine system or the chakras, that is the tree of life that's found within sight of us, every single person. Yea, the 7 Sephiroth upon the spine of the tree of life are found upon you, for the tree is within you and all around you. Yea, you are the Sefer Chaim, the book of life. So while people are looking for the book of life without, they really should go within to find it there, because that's where the book of life is unlocked, on the inside of you. It changes you from the inside out. Then you can give fruit to the world, right? And you can lead everybody to the tree of life. Yea, the 7 Sephiroth upon the spine of the tree of life are found upon you, for the tree is within you and all around you. Yea, you are the Sefer Chaim, the book of life. And only when you read yourself will you know the truth, and the truth will set you free. All of that is so good. So go back and read all of that, or listen to yesterday's video while we was going through that. And let's go back here. To the mercy seat. Yeah, we saw that in the chamber of prophecy that teach you how to mount the throne, but it's through steps. You ain't gonna just be like, hey, let me in. There's processes you have to go through to be refined, to be allowed into higher spiritual places, right? It literally has to become a part of you. Verse 228, matter of fact, let me just repeat. 227 at the bottom of page 115 says, yea, even how to sit upon the mercy seat and ride it as a throne chariot will be revealed, for the seeker shall find. The seeker will find the wings of the cherubim in the branches and the roots and will ascend the tree. And the seeker will find the star of 6 points amongst the roots and circle it with the tap root And the seeker will find the star of 6 points among the branches and circle it with the seventh branch. And the seeker will make the 2 stars and sit in the center upon the throne chariot. And when the seeker ascends the seventh branch and shares his ripe fruit with the hungry, lo, he will touch heaven most high, and he will marvel, for he will find the crown of 7 jewels atop his head. And after marvel is reference number 41, and it says the Hebrew word here translated as marvel is tamah, Tamah. 3 verses later, we're introduced to the word teom, which means twin. Both of these words also appear on the first page of the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas. Early church writings describe Thomas as the twin of Yeshua or Jesus. In the text at hand, we realize that this twinship is a level of spiritual attainment within the Nazarene mystery school, not a genetic physical likeness. Other verses in this section of the Megillah parallel the opening verses of the Gospel of Thomas. Let's go back. Verse 234. For he will find the crown of 7 jewels atop his head, and he will reign as king of 7 under the guidance of Jah, king and queen of the all. Yea, he will stand amongst the royal family and will be called Teom, for he is our twin brother. Not twin in physical likeness, but you have become a Christed one. You look like us. You part of the family. You have reached a level of spiritual attainment. Yea, he will stand amongst the royal family and will be called Teom, for he is our twin brother. And after Teom, here's reference number 42, and it says, the Hebrew word Teom means twin. As described in a previous footnote, this type of twinship is a level of spiritual attainment, not physical likeness. Yea, he will stand amongst the royal family and will be called Teom, for he is our twin brother. For behold, Elohim is a doorway to the seeker and a mirror to the finder. Yea, seek not the heavenly fruit in the sea, for if the fruit is in the sea, the fish will eat, but you will hunger. And seek not the heavenly fruit in the sky, for if the fruit is in the sky, the birds will eat, but you will hunger. All the tumim you seek will be found in the ark of 7 seals. And after tumim is reference number 43. The Hebrew word tumim, Tummim, means perfections and is a Nazarene term for the fruit of the tree of life. All the tumim you seek, or all the fruit you seek, will be found in the ark of the 7 seals, and the ark is within you, for that is the eternal covenant of Jah. And this is where we ended yesterday, so we're picking up right here. Verse 242 at the bottom page on 116. Yea, Nazarene halika is communicated to the seekers. Yea, Nazarene halika is communicated to the seekers. The true seeker will become a disciple. The loyal disciple will become a friend. Behold, the four pillars of discipleship. The first one is sincerity of motive. The second is diligence and studentship. The third one is persistence through time. And then the fourth one is loyalty, absolute, even in hardship, right? And that's probably, I ain't gonna say that's harder than the rest of them, but loyalty, it's just kind of developed in you. Like seriously, it can be if you don't have it, but sometimes, a lot of times it's tested when you find out loyalty to you has been violated, right? And sometimes people like, oh, well, you did it to me, I'm gonna do it to you. Growth really happens when in the face of adversity, you can still be solid and not go get back at somebody because of what they did to you, right? You're loyal, that you're absolutely loyal in all circumstances, no matter what is done to you, right? So the first one is sincerity of motive, diligence and studentship, persistence through time, and loyalty absolute, even in hardship. Verse 246, behold, the four pillars support the roof, and the name carved on the roof is friendship. And the name carved on the roof is friendship. Many seekers approach the Lord and Lady, few persevere unto friendship. Behold, Elohim, your Lord and Lady, did create all the children of the mother Ovum. And remember, Ovum is the earth, right? Just another name for earth. According to let me go back. Behold, Elohim, your Lord and Lady, did create all the children of the mother Ovum according to the will of Jaja. But we force none to become our disciples. Yea, each is free to embrace or reject the Lord and Lady. Lo, there are many ways by which our children may embrace or reject us. One, we may be aware of our relationship and choose one may be aware of our relationship and choose to oppose us. This is rejection by rebellion. Two, one may be aware of our relationship and choose to pay it no regard. This is rejection by disregard. Third, one may be deceived to believe our relationship is other than it is. This is rejection due to deception. Fourth, one may be unaware that we have any relationship. This is rejection by ignorance. One may be partially aware of our relationship and regard it lovingly with great faith and sincerity, but be missing important information about the true halakha. This is acceptance by faith. And after faith is reference 44. And down here at the bottom, it says, this is the category that most mainstream Christians are in. I'll read that again. Verse 259. One may be partially aware of our relationship and regard it lovingly with great faith and sincerity, but be missing important information about the true halakha. This is acceptance by faith. And we talk about that a lot. We use other words, but we talk about this a lot because most of us come from the Christian background or Hebrew roots. I'm transitioning from Christianity into Hebrew roots, and that's what I did. From Christianity into Hebrew roots, and now into more truth, right? But I would say both of them are like at that level. Verse 261. One may be aware of our relationship and regard it lovingly with acceptance of the true halakha. This is acceptance by discipleship. One may be aware of our relationship, regard it lovingly, and persevere with the halakha as a disciple unto twinship as a co-worker in the family of Christ. This is acceptance by friendship. Those who reject the Lord and Lady are not rejected by the Lord and Lady. We love them and will reach out to them with our hands of mercy. But until they take hold of the hand we offer and thereby accept us into their lives, they only have the first form of salvation, continued existence within the mother ovum without the guidance of Elohim. This is a form of salvation because, were it not for the grace of Jaja, these beings would cease to exist. Wherefore, this form of salvation is called matana, which means gift. And after matana is reference number 45. And this first section of the Holy Megillah is called the matana, which is actually one of the questions on the quiz that they give you that we're going to take. I know I'm going to take it. I'm not sure if y'all going to choose. So I know some of y'all are. Y'all already said it. Okay. Reference number 45 at the bottom says, the Hebrew word matana, pronounced matana, means gift and is a Nazarene sectarian term for the first form of salvation. Verse 270, the placement of these beings in the mother ovum will be according to their thoughts, words, and deeds, according to justice. They are not placed according to mercy because they have not accepted the hand of mercy, which is the Lord and Lady. For to be guided by a guide, one cannot reject the guide. And without Elohim as a guide, there will be much weeping and gnashing of teeth. For the path that seems easy and rosy is in truth perilous and thorny. Though their placement is not by mercy, Even so, their continued existence is by mercy, for it is the eternal hope of mercy that will repent and grasp the hand of mercy before the deep sleep. You have heard of the great danger, which is the price of free will, which is the danger of consequences of bad choices. But now hear of the greatest danger. Sleep so deep that you can no longer be made awake. Woo. Imagine me in that sleep and you can't wake up. First off, that's called death, what we call death here. But this is a deeper sleep than death. Listen to this. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to reread that again. Verse 276, on page 118. Cosmine Cow, what's going on, brother? You have heard of the great danger, which is the price of free will, which is the danger of the consequences of bad choices. But now hear of the greatest danger. Sleep so deep that you can no longer be made awake. Behold, due to the grace of Jah, a being cannot become non-being. Therefore, a being cannot truly die. But lo, a being can fall so deeply asleep that his consciousness exists only in a dormant state. Lo, such a being cannot animate even the body of an insect. He has no body, but sleeps in the dust of darkness for endless cycles, unaware of anything, even that he exists. He is as close to non being as a being can become. Even the Lord and Lady cannot awaken such a sleeper. For such a one neither hears, nor sees, nor thinks, nor feels. Wherefore I say, put not off your salvation until the next season, or next year, or next lifetime, saying, I will have fun now and repent later. For behold, what you call fun may make you too blind to recognize the hand of salvation that even now is offered. Those who are partially aware of their relationship with Elohim and regard it lovingly with faith, but know not of the true halakha, such will have the second form of salvation, continued existence in the mother ovum, according to the placement of Elohim. This form of salvation is called Yesemiel. And it's reference number 46. I think it's Yesemiel, which means Elohim will place. So at the bottom, 46 says, okay, the Hebrew word Yesemiel, pronounced Yes-im al-el, Yesemiel, means Elohim will place, and is a Nazarene sectarian term for the second form of salvation. And that placement is according to justice tempered with mercy. For though ignorant of the true halakha, their love of Elohim, albeit they know not the full nature of Elohim, and belief in the hand of mercy is enough to permit mercy to influence their placement within Beit-Sa, the mother ovum. This salvation is for all who believe and have faith in the hands of mercy, though ignorant of the Nazarene halakha. Verse 290, yea, the mother ovum is like a mansion with many rooms. Some rooms are dark, some have a dim light, some are filled with splendor of bright light. Those of the first salvation place themselves in rooms of darkness. Those of the second salvation are placed by Elohim in rooms with dim light. And those of the third salvation live in the bright light of Elohim. It's kind of like what we learn in a WASP. Based on what we learn here and how we operate in it, we literally choose where we're placed. So if you're caught up in religion and worshiping Jesus, that's where you go. Like literally, you choose your place where you go, and you're going to be placed there with Jesus worshipers until they in spirit are enlightened a little bit more that you listen. First of all, you should never been worshiping him, right? Right. The true Jesus, or Joshua, according to a WASP, he literally activated all the seals on the inside of himself, and he was giving fruit to the world, and everybody was coming eating off of his fruit or whatever, but they began to worship him, which they got off, right? They got off, and now it's turned into something else. And all they've done that to all people who have literally unlocked the seven seals or unlocked the tree of life within them, because they look supernatural, and it would seem to them, because they haven't made it to that level yet, that they're godlike. And in a sense they are, because that's what we're attaining to, godlike, godship, twinship with the Christed family, right? But they kind of get off, because humans, we have the tendency to get all enthralled with shiny things. Oh my gosh, ooh, right? And they do that with people as they begin to unlock the tree of life inside of them, which they should not do, right? But I said all that to say, depending on where your level of understanding, you're going to go to that level when you pass on from here until you're raised up. You're going to continue to grow, right? Some may take a little bit longer than others, but if you're in first grade, you're going over here with the first graders, right? If you're college level, okay, let's get over here with the college levels, the undergrads and the graduates, right? It's saying the same thing that we learned about in the WASP. Verse 294. Lo, if those of the second salvation were placed in the bright light of Elohim, they would be burned by the light, for they are not ready. Oh, there's a lot of good examples about this in the WASP. Some of the false gods who have been walking in darkness, and when they have been, they found themselves in the middle of a hell, not in a darkness. When those of a higher light will come to rescue them, they're so well, for lack of better words, they're so high in the scale of light from the Creator that the brightness from them, like they're I'm pure light, baby. The brightness from their being, it blinds them, and it's painful to them, right? So they have to in the WASP, we see a lot of examples of where some of the true gods in line of the light of Creator, they help protect the ones who are in the darkness as they go to rescue them. Kind of, they don't turn their light down, but they kind of shield them a little bit so the light doesn't blind them. Let me read this again. Verse 294. Lo, if those of the second salvation were placed in the bright light of Elohim, they would be burned by the light, for they are not ready. Highlight this all the way. For they are not ready, but their belief and faith has made them ready to receive the gift of continued existence in the mother ovum according to the placement of Elohim. And that placement will be wise. They will be placed where they need to be to learn the lessons at hand. And that placement will be merciful. They need not be placed in rooms of great darkness, but in rooms of dim light. And in their next lifetime, perhaps they will receive the true halakha and become ready to receive the third salvation. So remember, yesterday we also talked about somebody asked about what did they say, reincarnation, next lifetime or whatever. We kind of hit on this. But the way we understand it to be, it's not coming back living this life again. It's literally being born again into the next cycle. So I gave the analogy yesterday about the different born again cycles that we enter. Right. So I started with the father. You're first carried in the loins of your father. Then you're born again into the womb of your mother, and then you grow there. Right. And when you're done growing there, you're born again and you enter into the mother ovum or into earth. Right. And then we grow here. And then after we finish growing here, and some may leave here early, right? But then we are born again, which we call this particular born again death here. But on that side, on the spiritual side, fully born spirit, they call it being born. And you're literally, or WASP calls it your newborns. Just like we got doctors waiting for the newborns to come out, there are receivers there in the spirit as we're crossing over death's doors, waiting to receive you there, and you are born again there, right? So that's what we understand that to be. Verse 299, Tabitha said, Luamong knew when some mortals has not the light of understanding, it's easy for him to cook up a man named Jesus Christ in his lab. That's true. Shayla, hey cousin. Okay, let me go back up. I missed a few comments. Cosma said, oh, yeah, that's right. Owaspi speaks on this. But he said the old speaks on this. Nazarene Essene said, would that be in one of the early chapters of the Book of War, Jehovah, chapter 2 or 3? I don't remember exactly which chapter. Jamia says, so far I haven't read anything in a while that says you cannot come back from darkness. If it does, anybody know where I want to read it? I don't think wait. There is clearly all through a WASPy, even that's what we learned. Well, that's what I first learned, that even hell is not permanent, right? So Christianity teach you that if you go to hell, you're gonna burn forever, right? That's not the case. You know, first of all, you a spirit, but we ain't gonna get into all the schematics of that. We talked about that. Shucks. I may have hell in the title of one of the videos when we was going through a WASPy. I'll try and go through that and see where I explained that a little bit. But there, I think I might be getting that confused. Okay, so hold on. There, you can always come back. Okay, so there are portions in there where it talks about people, where it talks about the darkness so deep where you can't be woken up. But even think about some of the hell knots where people spend extreme amounts of time, years, even decades down in a hell knot. But even still then, eventually, once they begin to cry out, when they come to themselves, still they are woken up and they get back on the path of life. No, but there is, hold on, there is something that I read in here. I'm trying to remember. Hold on. I wonder if I stuck one of my stickies in it, because there was something I did have a question about in regards to that. Hold on. I knew I highlighted it. Hold on. Let me check my stickies real quick, because I know I stuck a sticky in it. Nope, that's Moses. But for the most part, and this may not even be that, Jamia, but as far as I know, everybody can be saved, no matter how deep your deception is. Is that it? Nope. I stuck a look. I got a couple of these waspies. It may not even be this one. It could be the one. Hold on. Now I'm gonna have to go back. Nope, that's not it. I'm gonna have to look for it, but as far as I know, right off the top of my head, Jamia, there is nothing in here that I remember. But there's something. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it's that. But when you asked that question, it triggered something that I was looking into before. But as far as I know, there is nothing that you cannot come back from spiritually, according to a WASPy. And I think that's amazing. This talks about that deep sleep where, hold on, back here. Let me go back to 277. On page 118, it says, behold, due to the grace of Jah, a being cannot become non-being. Therefore, a being cannot truly die. But lo, a being can fall asleep. But lo, a being can fall so deeply asleep that his consciousness exists only in a dormant state. Lo, such a being cannot animate even the body of an insect. He has no body, but sleeps in the dust of darkness for endless cycles unaware of anything, even that he exists. Even that he exists. He is as close to non being as a being can become. Even the Lord and Lady cannot awaken such a sleeper, for such a one neither hears nor sees, nor thinks nor feels. So I would think, according to a WASP, that seems to me, and I could be wrong, maybe Cosmon can answer this better. He said nothing is stagnant, all must move onwards and upwards. But okay, so you can correct me, Cosmon. Okay, so according to what this is right here, okay, so you say somebody's in a hell knot, right? So we seen some of them were in hell knots for a long period of time. Would this kind of be considered the same thing, or it doesn't seem like that to you? Sounds like a coma, just me, right? Okay, so remember when Nugon or Pharaoh, remember how long Pharaoh was in a hell knot, and even when Moses, they tried to bring him to, they just couldn't snap him out of that state where he was in, right? He would kind of come to and mumble, but then go back into this deep state where it's like, man, we singing songs, we trying to brighten his spirit, but nothing is working. We cannot wake him up. Y'all remember that? Isn't that kind of the same thing? Hold on. I gotta check. What page is that, y'all? Oh my gosh. Okay, I just had one of the tabs where I said Moses. Oh. I got to go back. Because that's what I'm thinking it's alluding to. And my understanding, like I said, I could be wrong, and Cosmon can correct me. Or if anybody that knows, where is that at? Where's the section for Moses, y'all? Fam, do you all remember the lesson on the yaks, how they die and don't have eternal life? That too, like all of this, it alludes to some of these same things. It words it a little bit different, so that's why I'm not quite sure. Cosmon, Selah, Malachi, they can kind of help us there. Y'all, where is the section for Moses? Hold on. Remember, it's in the part where the blood sacrifice that he did during Passover is explained, and what happened with the lamb, and what it really in Book of Ezra. Okay, let me go. Page 585. Yeah, for all my Passover observers, you should look into that. You should look at the whole the why the lamb was even slaughtered during Passover. I know what it tells you in the Bible, but this gives you an extension of what else happened there, especially when we know that the God that was speaking to Israel at that point was one of the false gods. It was kind of like that Jedi mind trick. They had been fooled into worshiping Lucifer instead of the Creator. And so at that point, they were listening to the words of the Creator. But Moses knew, because this actually brought that out and expanded on why they slaughtered the lamb during Passover with the blood and stuff. It was literally a blood curse against Pharaoh. But Moses, okay. Moses in heaven payeth the judgment of Jehovah. Okay, boom. I think this is it. Yep, let me read this, y'all. What time? Okay, look. Some of y'all on holiday. Some of y'all might not be. If you're not, go to work. You got to go to work. Remember, this is recorded. Come back, right? Okay. So let me read this. Okay, so this, if I'm going to read this, and this is going to give you the detail about the Passover and what really happened there. Okay, so if you got OWASP, the lowest edition is on page 593, and it's chapter 16 in God's book of Ezra. The title of the chapter is Moses in Heaven Payeth the Judgment of Jehovah. Jehovah here, it's another name for Creator. We call Great Spirit. I call Most Holy, whatever name you choose to call Creator. true creator. Listen. Hamanastas, one of the chief marshals of God, and for the heavenly city of paradise, came before the throne, duly saluting and saying, O God, son of Jehovah, I would speak before thee. God said, Speak thou, my son. Okay, so I know we jumped over here. I'm gonna keep reading over here, but I ain't gonna go all the way back there. This is just kind of jumping ahead. So there is some further backstory to this, but this is going to kind of get right to the point. All right. Hamanastas, one of the chief marshals of God, and for the heavenly city of paradise, came before the throne, duly saluting and saying, O God, son of Jehovah, I would speak before thee. God said, Speak thou, my son. And this is true God speaking, not creator, but true God, right? Hamanastas said, There standeth without the city of paradise, beyond the pillars of fire, and in company with thy high raised captains, one Nugon, which is Pharaoh, the Pharaoh of Egypt, who wouldn't let Israel go. This is that Pharaoh. One Nugon delivered from one of the hells of Hassa over Egypt, and he cried out continually, O God, son of Jehovah, deliver me, O Moses, Moses, Moses. So remember in Exodus, when this happened, and Pharaoh said, Look, boy, get out of my face. You come before me again, it's going to be the last time you see me. And with that right there, Moses said, Then that's the way it's going to be. The next time that you see me, you will call for me. Look, Hamanastas said, There standeth without the city of paradise, beyond the pillars of fire, and in company with thy high raised captains, one Nugon, delivered from one of the hells of Hassa over Egypt, and he crieth out continually, O God, son of Jehovah, deliver me, O Moses, Moses, Moses. He is distracted continually, using the same words over and over without ceasing. Now, behold, the nurses and physicians have tried all remedies they can invent, and physicians have tried all. Hold on. Behold, the nurses and physicians have tried all remedies they can invent, but failed to utterly break the spell upon him. For 70 days have they labored, and as a last resort, they have brought him hither, that they might learn from thee. God said, Nugon, is this not one of the pharaohs who took up arms against the faithists of Egypt? Return thou, Hamanastas, to the keepers of this man, and cause him to be blindfolded, that he may endure the light of the throne, after which thou and his keepers shall bring him before me. Is this not what we was just reading over here in the Megillah? About the bright light, and some people have to be put in a dim light so that the brightness doesn't harm them, because they haven't developed their spirits to that high of a magnitude. The light will only hurt them. That's just like you giving truth to somebody. You have to be wise in who you're giving truth to, because they may not be at the level of receiving it yet, and you'll end up doing more harm to them than helping them, and you're going to defeat your purpose, right? Just like newborn babies, when they come into the world, we have to shield them from certain things, because even though they will be in time to come, some things they're just not ready for it now. Even if it is the truth, we have to help them along, help them develop until they become strong enough to endure such truths and atmospheres, right? Listen, for 70 days they have labored, and as a last resort they have brought him hither, that they might learn from thee. God said, Nugon, is this not one of the pharaohs who took up arms against the faithists of Egypt? And remember also, all of the faithists or Israelites in Egypt were not true faithists indeed. The only ones who were true faithists indeed, and this gives a story, it goes into detail about Israel and how their name has changed over the time. But the true followers of Creator, who did not start worshiping man and bowing down to the laws of man, that's what most of Israel did. But the true faithists who remain faithists to the heart, those are what the Bible calls the prophets, right? So now I'm thinking about my dream that I had as I'm learning all of this and the steps that Creator took me through. One of the dreams, in my dreams, he told me, start reading the books of the prophets. start reading all the prophets. I'm like, okay, well, I thought I was about to do this whole study on the prophets, and voila, this is the prophets of the Bible. But by studying the prophets, I began to recognize the character of Israel as a whole, and why the prophets, they were they were completely different, like night and day. The whole of Israel was darkness, and the prophets were pure light, and they were the ones who was sticking to, like clockwork, the laws of life. Even with the slaughterings and all of this stuff, the prophets was like, you wouldn't even have to do all of this if you would just keep to the laws of life. There shouldn't stop the slaughterings. As a matter of fact, I think there was a voice of true creator that they allowed to go in the book of Isaiah. I want to say it was Isaiah. Don't quote me. Maybe I think it's Isaiah chapter 66, where he was talking about the slaughterings and stuff, and even the slaughterings of the lamb. He said that's like it's like you're offering dog's blood. Stop all the slaughterings. I'm like, there's the voice of true creator. They left it in there. It's probably an oversight by Constantine and them. But all of those things, I was like, oh snap. So that began to deepen my journey on deciphering the scriptures, and a lot of things just got exploded. Okay, let's go back to this. Verse 6, on page 594 over WASP. God said, Nugon, is this not one of the pharaohs who took up arms against the faithists of Egypt? Return thou Hamanastas to the keepers of this man, and cause him to be blindfolded, that he may endure the light of the throne, after which thou and his keepers shall bring him before me. Hamanastas saluted and departed, and after a certain time returned with the keepers and with Nugon, who was crying out unceasingly, even as had been said. And now, when he was quiet before the throne of God, God said to him, Behold me, I am God, son of Jehovah. What wouldest thou? But the man heard not what God said, but kept crying out as before. Whereupon God said unto the keepers, Remove ye the blinds a little, that a little light may come upon him. And they removed the blinds a little, but lo and behold, the light made him more distracted than before. And when God saw his deplorable suffering, he inquired of his keepers how long the man had been in hell, and they said 76 years, and in a knot 3 years. God said, I know that this is Pharaoh who persecuted the Jews. Take him again without the walls, and there retain him. I will send one of my swift messengers to Leka in Ethera, who knoweth the abiding place of Moses. Perhaps Moses put a curse upon him. If so, only Moses can deliver him. So this is about to get into the detail about what Moses said to Pharaoh before Israel departed out of Egypt, and what happened on Passover night. You'll never look at the lamb again, the same again after this, even if you tasted of the lamb this year during Passover, right? Everybody got to grow. I ain't celebrated Passover like I celebrated it in like the last 2 years. As I began to understand this stuff, I'm just like, oh, Father, forgive us. My heart was to do what was right, but every time I figure out that I'm doing something wrong, I adjust it just a little bit more, right? And as you adjust to truth, your life begins to change, and you will begin to see glimpses of light, and breakthroughs that happen in different parts of your life. I'm not going to say it's because of it, but I want to say it's because of it, because the more you walk in truth and light, the angels of the creator are there to help you along your path. And things, sometimes it gets easier, and sometimes it may seem it's a little bit harder, but it's a part of the growth process. But light begins to shine for you, and things begin to work in different places, right? Because you're changing, your understanding is changing, and now you're approaching things from a different light, to whereas it didn't work before, but now the light has come on. Aha. Okay, so let's go back, let's regroup, let's try it this way. And wisdom comes, and you start to see the wisdom trickling down in every area of your life, not just spiritual, even in a job or your business, or even in your family. It's amazing, right? Listen, okay. Verse 11, God said, I know that this is Pharaoh who persecuted the Jews. Take him again without the walls, and there retain him. I will send one of my swift messengers to Leka in Ethera, who knoweth the abiding place of Moses. Perhaps Moses put a curse upon him. If so, only Moses can deliver him. And the keepers took the spirit Nugon. By this time, clearly he had shedded his flesh. He was completely born, as he had been born again. He's completely born in spirit, but born in spirit, he was in such a deep darkness. And they literally hear, even though he was crying out, you know how people like they babble out of their mind. He's quiet and then he's babbling out of his mind because he's in such a deep state that they cannot wake him up, right? And the keepers took the spirit Nugon without the city as commanded by God. And God sent Herapanes, sister of Raban, a swift messenger, in an arrow ship of fire to the Etherian worlds, to Gussa Waniticha, to Lika sojourning place at that time, commanding her to lay the matter before the Nirvanian chief, Lika. Hereupon the report continued in the words of Herapanetus, that is, I came before Jehovah's throne, whereon sat Lika, and told him of the story of Nugon. And there's two references here after Herapanes, that is reference number 15, and it says, that is, these are her words to wit, in not many days' time I came before. And then reference number 16 is after I came before Jehovah's throne, whereon sat Lika. After Lika's reference number 16, and it says, Lika, through whose Etherian provinces the solar phalanx was now traveling, and I told. And that's the end of that footnote. Okay, so let me read the whole verse again. We're going to keep going. Hereupon the report continued in the words of Herapanetus, that is, I came before Jehovah's throne, whereon sat Lika, and I told him of the story of Nugon. Whereupon Lika, son of Jehovah, said, let my reporters of destinations go find Moses, and if it be that Moses put a judgment on Nugon, then Moses must return to the lower heavens and deliver him. The justice of Jehovah reacheth to all time and place. Herapanetus continued, whereupon I saluted before the throne of Jehovah, and in company with the reporters of destinations, started forth again in the Etherian realms, and after passing through 7 worlds and upward of 300 Nirvanian kingdoms, we entered the plains of Sapas, where are situated the colleges and schools of embassies belonging to the Giterpsan board of Retivius. And here we found Moses, who no sooner looked upon us, having been told that he was inquired after, than he prophesied the cause. Moses said, alas me, because thou hast come from me, thou hast awakened in me that which has slept all these hundreds of years. Yea, it is true, I put a curse upon Pharaoh, for I said unto him, thou shalt yet call upon me to deliver thee out of torments. And I added thereto afterward, saying, the blood of the sacrifice of the Lamb. This shall be the testimony of innocent blood against thyself and thy people for what the Hebrews have suffered. Instead of this, listen to this. And I remember when I was reading this, I got all choked up. And a little bit of an ugly cry about burst out of my mouth, and I had to pause. I don't know. It just shook me down to my core. Listen to this. Because I don't know, it had me look at forgiveness in a different light that I had never looked at it before, right? Listen to what Moses said. Let me just go back. Verse 17 said, Moses said, alas me, because thou hast come from me, thou hast awakened in me that which has slept all these hundreds of years. Yea, it is true, I put a curse upon Pharaoh, for I said unto him, thou shalt yet call upon me to deliver thee out of torments. And I added thereto afterward, saying, of the blood of the sacrifice of the Lamb. This shall be the testimony of innocent blood against thyself and thy people for what the Hebrews have suffered. Instead of this, Moses said, instead of this, I should have forgiven him. O Jehovah, I have sinned before thee, and thou hast searched me out after all these years and brought the matter home to me. I'm like, boy, hold on. And after O Jehovah is reference number 17, and at the bottom it just says, O Jehovah, Jehovah. Instead of this, I should have forgiven him, O Jehovah. I have sinned before thee, and thou hast searched me out after all these years and brought the matter home to me. Thou art just, O thou Almighty. In thy name and by thy wisdom and power will I return to the lower heaven and take in charge the man and people I adjudged. And Moses wept, and he gave command to the builders to provide him at once with a suitable boat of great fleetness. And then Moses procured 30,000 volunteers to go with him. And when all things were in readiness, Moses took leave of his companions, and he and his host entered his fireboat. And presently our two vessels were underway, as if in a race for the red star, the earth. And after some days, we arrived in the heavens of the earth, even at the city of paradise, the abiding place of God. Such is a brief of the heavenly report of Herapanaxis. For on her arrival in paradise, her mission was completed for the present. When it was known in paradise that Moses was coming, a great joy manifested, for God and the Holy 11 and the Holy Council all desired to see Moses. And God commanded the full board of marshals and also the musicians to go without the capital and meet Moses and escort him before the throne. And they accompanied and they accomplished these things, and Moses came before the throne of God, saluting in the sign of judgment of time. And God answered him under the sign, Thy labor is our joy and glory. And God said, In Jehovah's name, O Moses, come thou and honor my throne. And Moses went up and sat on the throne and the right hand of God. And Moses went up and sat on the throne on the right hand of God. And Moses said unto the holy council and to the holy 11, Your God shall be my God. In his love and dominion I am cast by Jehovah's will to deliver those that have suffered from me and my words. God said, Shall we not have a day of recreation first? Moses said, Nay, till I have delivered Nugan, that was Pharaoh, there can be no peace. Suffer therefore thy marshals to go to the keepers of this man and bring him before this throne. So even though Nugan had been in this deep sleep, this deep state, not being able to be awoken by anybody, here in Owaspi, just to answer your question that Jamia said, I haven't seen any instance in here where all is absolutely lost, with the exception for like Tabitha said when it was talking about the yaks and some of the earlier humans who were not how can I put it, who didn't have eternal life, right? And so Owaspi explains that on why they didn't have eternal life, and when they died, they literally just withered. They literally just became nothing. Like they're just nothing. I know that kind of sounds like off a little bit. I probably didn't explain it the right way, but before our spirits were truly developed to where it could inherit eternal life, and it could inherit eternal life once the breath of life was breathed into you. All those who have the breath of life of the Creator have the have access to eternal life. But there was a group of humans before, which Owaspi goes into, that were completely just of the earth, that had not yet made it, according to what Genesis was it Genesis chapter 3? Remember how Genesis, or I could be Genesis 6, don't quote me, I think it's Genesis 6, where the sons of God or the angels came and made it with the daughters of humans, right? It wasn't until that the heavenly made it with the earthly where they produced a hybrid, which is us, who now are born of flesh and spirit, right? Because of the mixture of spiritual beings with the earthly beings, they created a hybrid, and now you're part spirit and part flesh. It was those who were just fully flesh that were not capable of eternal life, because, and it goes into a lot of detail explaining different things. Even they tried to teach them, but they eventually did die out because they weren't like fully like they weren't like the hybrid. They were literally like the animals of the earth. It was a different type of spirit, and they couldn't inherit. Hold on, what was the question? But who supported Moses with this curse on Nugon? Was it true angel? Was it the power behind the curse? All of it. Who supported it? Remember the little bit that I gave y'all on Moses. Remember, Moses, remember, he was raised in the household of Pharaoh. So he knew the magic, all the casting of spells, all the stuff. He knew about blood sacrifices, right? So all his knowledge of growing up in the kingdom of Egypt and then realizing that who his people are, he didn't just leave that knowledge there. He just kind of developed a little bit more. But when it came to this, Moses let his anger get the best of him, right? He wanted to snap off a couple times, but this time, as Israel was being let go, he put a curse on Pharaoh and his people with the blood sacrifice. He said, and what I should have done when we were leaving was to forgive Pharaoh. Instead, I placed a curse upon him. And Israel didn't know. Israel was ignorant. I say most of Israel. Most of Israel was ignorant of it, of what he had did. Maybe that was his only bad deed, and he did more good in his lifetime, not just for him, but for others, which caused him to be rated higher and raised up to a higher grade than 50. Yeah. So how was Moses up in higher heavenly realms when he had cursed Pharaoh? Right. Yeah. So when we get through this, you can see, right? There. Okay. So as I understand it, and I'm not saying y'all can get away with bad deeds, because you absolutely cannot. Right. There's a Moses still was able to continue to grow, right? He was still leading people. So, I mean, that one deed didn't knock his score all the way down to the ground where he wasn't able to rise up, because by the time Moses actually passed away, and you actually get a lot more story of Moses's life when you read the legends of the Jews. Matter of fact, before Moses, by the time Moses had passed, when they call it the angel of death, but they give him a name. When the angel of death comes to collect you, Moses was so holy, right? He had so grown in spirit that the angel of death could not take him, right? And the creator, or God, it uses the term God in Legends of the Jews, which is still not creator. Now I'm understanding. So all this is making sense now. Understand the titles in a row so you can see it everywhere, and it keeps everything in its proper context while you're reading some of these other scrolls. So the angel of death, when it came to get Moses, it said he was so holy that his spirit, even though it was light and it was bright, it was heavy, and he could not lift him out of his body. Like he tried it a few different times. He came back to God. He said, listen, and God told me, he said, listen, if you don't bring me back the soul of Moses, we were laughing while we were reading. He said, you don't bring me back the soul of Moses, somebody else gonna get your job. Don't worry about it. I got it. I'm gonna go get him. So he was about distraught, and then Moses pretty much like, bro, you ain't taking me. Like, I am pure light, baby. You're not gonna be able to lift me. And clearly he couldn't. So it's a whole story. It's pretty funny on going back and forth and how he was trying to get Moses, his spirit, out of his flesh. But God literally had to come and take Moses' spirit himself, because the angel, he was so holy and so light that even the spirit of death could not touch him. God on the throne himself had to come get Moses' spirit, right? So this is pretty cool. The story is really good. Yeah, it was a righteous indignation on Moses's part, but still, even in that, there was a higher light that Moses could have chose. And even here, he's confessing to it. He said, instead of putting a curse on him, which was well deserved, but everybody seen what he was doing to our people, right? Everybody seen he wouldn't let us go. So the boils and the frogs and everybody saw that. So I was justified. Yeah, bro, I would have did this. I would have did more than that, right? So I'm just, but Moses said, what I should have done was just forgiven him, right? Because there's this higher law behind forgiveness that a lot of times I don't really think people see. It's not just forgiveness of the other person, but it also it does a work inside of you. It's the simultaneous work. Some people think it's fully for the benefit of the other person. Some think it's fully for the benefit of you. But the more that I learn now, it's a great benefit to both, and they're encapsulated together. You cannot separate one from the other, because there's not just a forgiveness and a healing that happens there with forgiveness, but there's also a connecting of the two spirits on a higher level. All right, but we'll get into that sometime later. But I am not hooking Josh's credit card up to the PS.
How?
No.
Mom.
Isaiah, we'll talk about this later. Okay, hold on. Let's go back. Verse 18, he said, instead of this, hold on, let me go back. I'll go to 17. Moses said, alas me, because thou hast come from me, thou hast awakened in me that which slept all these hundreds of years. Yea, it is true, I put a curse on Pharaoh, and I said unto him, thou shalt yet call upon me to deliver thee out of torments. And I added thereto afterward, saying, of the blood of the sacrifice of the lamb. This shall be the testimony of innocent blood against thyself and thy people for what the Hebrews have suffered. Instead of this, I should have forgiven him. O Jehovah, I have sinned before thee, and thou hast searched me out after all these years and brought the matter home to me. Thou art just, O Almighty. O thou Almighty, in thy name and by thy wisdom and power will I return to the lower heavens and take in charge the man and people I adjudge. So let's I went back real far to read that again, but let's jump back over here to verse 28. When they said, well, let's have a day of recreation. Verse 28, Moses said, nay, till I have delivered Nugan, that was Pharaoh, there can be no peace. Suffer therefore thy marshals to go to the keepers of this man and bring him before the throne. And now again, after a while, Nugan was brought in, all muffled up, to keep the light from hurting him. And he was still crying out, O God, son of Jehovah, O Moses, Moses, Moses. And when Moses beheld this, he was nigh overcome by the pitiful scene. And Moses brushed away his tears and rose up, raising his hands to Jehovah, saying, light of thy light, O Jehovah, power of thy power, O Jehovah, deliver thou him whom I accurse. Put his griefs and sorrows upon me that have sinned against him. Moses said, I sinned against Pharaoh. Imagine how low you had to bow your code in order to say that, right? Moses went all the way low. He said, I sinned against Pharaoh. Bro, I'm like, what are we doing with our life for real down here? Like, what are we learning? No, because I don't know that I would have did. No, bro, you sinned against me and my people. There is no, yeah, I'll forgive you, but I ain't gonna forget about it. Peace, bro. I ain't gonna turn my back on you either. Listen, he said, hold on. And when Moses beheld this, he was nigh overcome by the pitiful scene. And Moses brushed away his tears and rose up, raising his hands to Jehovah, saying, light of thy light, O Jehovah, power of thy power, O Jehovah, deliver thou him whom I accurse. Put his griefs and sorrows upon me that have sinned against him. A mantle of yellow light, cloud-like, descended upon Moses as he stood transfixed before Jehovah. All the place was still as death. The blinds and muffles on Nugan fell off, and he stood silent and motionless, gazing with fixed awe upon the holy scene and upon Moses on the throne of God. The Spirit of Jehovah moved upon the holy place, and the musicians felt the power. It was the light of one who was mighty from the Etherian worlds. Gently, then, the music of 10,000 voices fell upon the holy audience, first mild as if far off, then louder and louder as if coming near, till soon the words of the anthem proclaimed Jehovah's praise. Nugan turned not his eyes from the glory of Moses and the Etherian mantle, for he knew Moses, even as if it were but yesterday they parted in Egypt on the earth. Slowly now Moses lowered his upstretched arms, and his hands were brilliant like yellow fire. And Moses said solemnly, all praise to thee, Jehovah, Eloah. Thou art just, thou almighty creator. Nugon added, for through him, listen, Pharaoh didn't just joined in praising the creator. Listen, it said, hold on. I lost my spot. Okay. Verse 37. Nugon added, for through him is all deliverance, worlds without end. In thy praise will I sing forever, O Jehovah, thou most high God of Moses, my deliverer. Make me strong, O Jehovah, that I can look upon him whom I persecuted and abused. Then Moses looked upon Pharaoh, Nugon, and said, these things had to be. Thou wert the last of thy Thou wert the last of the pyramidal age of man, and I, the first founder of the migration of the righteous. All things are done by Jehovah in his own way and time. As by my curse upon thee and thy people, I have been bound to come back and deliver thee and them. So by thy curse against Israel shalt thou now, hold on, what? As by my curse upon thee and thy people have I been bound to come back and deliver thee and them, so by thy curse against Israel thou shalt now return down to the earth and labor to lift up Israel. For Israel hath fallen from communities and hath taken to kings after the manner of the heathen and the idolater. Her people are divided and broken up, and many of them have become worshippers of the false gods Baal and Ashtaroth. Right, this should be read in conjunction with the book of Kings, when the kingdom of Israel split into two nations, the northern and the southern kingdom. Jeroboam with the 10, and Rehoboam with the other two, like 2.5. Right, he took all of Benjamin and most of the priesthood. Right, it was Judah, Benjamin, and most of the priesthood. Everybody else defected to the northern kingdom of Israel. Right. And everybody was doing what they wanted to do, and everybody was right in their own eyes, according to the scripture there, right? So listen. For it, verse 40, on page 595, for Israel hath fallen from communities and hath taken to kings after the manner of the heathen and the idolater. Her people are divided and broken up, and many of them have become worshippers of the false gods Baal and Ashtaroth. Yea, they are forgetful of my commandment of peace and love, and have taken to war and earthly aggrandizement. Think about Israel was the terror of the earth. Where there's a true God presence, and listen, they ain't listening to me no more. They are literally following the ways of Lucifer and have taken to war. They are terrorizing the earth. And Israel thought they were doing what was right. Listen, verse 42, and thou shalt take with thee 10,000 angels of exalted grades and go down to the earth, to the habitations of the Israelites, and by inspiration thou and thy host shall select and inspire such of the Israelites as are within reach of inspiration, and thou shalt take them away from all the other people and from the heathen and idolatrous tribes that are around about them. And thou and thy host shall abide with these mortals hundreds of years, reestablishing them in peace and non-resistance after the manner of the doctrines in the Esean worlds, right? Esean, E-S apostrophe S-E-A-N, which we call Essene here, right? The Essene way of living is according to the spirit, and Owaspi is Esean, but we know it here as Essene, the Essene walk, the Essene gospel of peace, the Holy Megillah, the Nazarene Essene Bible, right? Y'all got to read all of these things in conjunction, and it bring a lot more light to the Holy Bible, them 66 books that we read, and we'll keep it in its proper context. I know, right, Cosmo? He said, Nugon said, I'm done with this mess. I'm about to praise whoever Moses praised. I know that's right. Listen. Hold on. Verse 42, and thou shalt take with thee 10,000 angels of exalted grades and go down to the earth, to the habitation of the Israelites. And by inspiration, thou and thy host shall select and aspire such of the Israelites as are within reach of inspiration, and thou shalt take them away from all from all other of their people, and from the heathen and idolatrous tribes that are around about them. And thou and thy host shall abide with these mortals hundreds of years, re-establishing them in peace and non-resistance, after the manner of the doctrines in the Easian worlds. And thou shalt call them Easians, that they might be distinguished from all other peoples. Now, there's a footnote H after Easians, and that's a footnote I after people. So remember, here in OWASP, the letter references are found at the end of the current, it's at the end of the full book, not the whole OWASP, but we read in the book of God's book of Ezra. So you go to the end of God's book of Ezra for the letter references. The number references are found on that particular page at the bottom. So the end of this book is, I forgot, that's a pretty long book. Yeah. God's book of Ezra, 60 chapters. Okay, so after Easians, it's reference letter H. And H. Okay. H is on page 640, and it says, when this word is used in heaven, it is usually pronounced Easian, but on earth, Asian. Some interpreters call these tribes Essenes or Essene Jews. 1882 edition, right? So, hey, all of us, listen. Pharaoh, the one who had once persecuted Israel, right? He now is helping to raise Israel up, the ones whom he's persecuted and held down. And this is also what OISB teaches you. All of those that you persecute and you lead astray, you are going to have to help raise them. And we're of the generations where he is still at work, helping to undo what he has done in previous times with our ancestors in Egypt, right? So they call us today, those who are waking up and coming back to the truth of Creator, Essenes, right? The Essenes gospel of peace, all of this, while we're waking up, all of this new light is coming. We're getting the heavenly accounts that were there but have been hidden from us, right? And so now we can kind of understand a lot of the earthly accounts that we get in our Bibles, right? As according to OWASB, when you read through OWASB, you'll see that what we have is simply the earthly account, and we don't even understand why a lot of this stuff is happening, because they've removed the heavenly account, which has been revealed to us and our forefathers and ancestors. But if do all that, they don't need to know that. We can create a whole nother story here and still got us all worshiping false gods and stuff. I mean, me, not no more, but I'm just saying this is how it happened. And so I'm like, y'all have to get a copy of OWASP, get a copy of the Holy Megillah, and go through and test a lot of the things you're reading in the scripture, in the Holy Bible. Line it up, adjust your understanding, understand who's speaking. Is it true Creator, or is it one of the false gods who is impersonating and masquerading as? A lot of time, what we have found as we've been going through here the last few years, we have found a bunch of perpetrators that have fooled with precision good and well-meaning people who are searching after their Creator, right? But it's those of us that's waking up, hey, something is wrong about this. Something's wrong about this. Don't you see that rain a little bit yellow outside? Bro, they pissing on us and laughing at us. That is not real rain. Something is wrong. Okay. Let's go back here. Let me finish reading the story about Moses. We almost done. Hold on. Verse 42 back on page. No, I'm sorry. I didn't even finish the footnote. I'm sorry. Okay. Footnote H on page 640 was, when this word is used in heaven, it is usually pronounced Essene, but when on earth, Asian. Some interpreters call these tribes Essenes or Essene Jews. And then reference I was for the word peoples. And thou shalt call them Esians or Essenes, that they may be distinguished from all other peoples. We're definitely distinguishable from the regular church going crowd called Christians. And I'm so glad to have found the Essenes, the Ezians, right? Listen, and thou shalt call them Ezians, that they may be distinguished from all other peoples. And reference letter I is after peoples, and I says on page 640, this is an excellent example as elucidated throughout OASP, that no apparent evil is absolute. Here's the question and answer, Jamil. Listen, right here in the footnote. I'm so glad we came here. We read it before, but listen. This is an excellent example, as elucidated throughout OASB, that no apparent evil is absolute and irreversible, and that no soul is forever lost. Here we revisit the hated Pharaoh who mercilessly pursued Moses into the Red Sea. We now learn that he is to become a loyal inspirer of the Essenes, who which Joshua of Nazareth was raised, right? And shortly after this, matter of fact, is it in Book of Esdras where it gets into the real Jesus? I think it is. Yep, it gets into quite a few of the saviors. Yep, this is the book. It's chapter. Let's see. The Creator is ever present. I thought I highlighted. I see all these other ones. It's I think it's definitely in here. Zarathustra, Sakea. It's in here somewhere, y'all. I'm gonna just keep going. It's in here, but we're gonna get to it again because we read through it again. Okay, so go back here. Go back here. I read verse 43, page 595. And thou and thy host shall abide with these mortals hundreds of years, re-establishing them in peace and non-resistance after the manner of the doctrines in the Esian worlds. And thou shalt call them Essenes or Esians, that they may be distinguished from all other peoples. Nugan said, thy decree is most just, O Moses, and I know of a truth that thy words are Jehovah's. I pray thee, how long shall this labor be for me and my host? Moses said, some hundreds of years. These ninjas is hard-headed. Listen. Moses said, some hundreds of years, until thou hast raised a light sufficient unto Jehovah, that peace and love and the doctrine of good for evil be again reestablished from the blood of the Israelites, even as by the blood of the Lamb I delivered Jehovah's people out of Egypt. He said, listen, so all of them believe. He said, listen, until they turn from this state of war that they're at, and I don't think we got there yet. So Pharaoh is still at work trying to help us ninjas in Israel, right? You can cut on any channel, mostly all the channels of the Hebrews, and you can see it. Look at the hold on. No disrespect if you're part of some of these camps, but some of the camps are prime examples. Nugan is having a time trying to help our brethren and sisters. Like, bro, you started all this, right? Now they're mad at the man. They turning against the women, all because all of what you did in Egypt to the people. It's past that. And you see what we got to deal with? Come on now. Move a little bit faster. Israel needs you. Israel needs you, Pharaoh. Listen, okay. Verse 44. Nugan said, thy decree is most just, O Moses, and I know of a truth, thy words are Jehovah's. I pray thee, how long shall this labor be for me and my host? Moses said, some hundreds of years, until thou hast raised a sufficient light unto Jehovah, that peace and love and the doctrine of good for evil be again reestablished from the blood of the Israelites, even as by the blood of the Lamb I delivered Jehovah's people out of Egypt. And when thou hast perfected the generations of the Essenes, thou shalt have sent to thee from the throne of God certain Lewis, and they will labor with thee until an Israelite is born into the mortal world capable of the Father's voice. Nugan said, hear me now in my plea, O Moses, thou son of the Most High. When I died as to the earth and entered heaven, as to these worlds, I found my kingdom as to what was before me in heaven waiting for me. And they were miserable, being beggars and slaves and idiots because of the slavery I put upon them in the earth life. And I could not escape them or put them aside. If I went away objectively, then subjectively I remembered them, and I was drawn back to them. Yea, I was like a young colt that first, being haltered, pulleth away, but faileth, then pulleth again, and faileth, and so on until he findeth he cannot escape, then tamely submitteth. Even so was I bound to my kingdom and obliged in the end to yield and become a slave unto them to provide for them. For I so despoiled them of their talents, they were as helpless as infants, and many of them wicked in the extreme. And this is what religion does to us, right? When you try to force them into a way of life, you literally cripple them, not just physically, but also spiritually. And they literally become imbeciles. They're spiritual midgets. And it's like they need help with everything, which is why they flock to you. Jesus, 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 I need your help. Jesus, Jesus, like, bro, I told y'all what to do when I was there. Quit calling me. Look, hold up, go back. Nevertheless, Jesus like, they still calling for me to come. I ain't coming back. Y'all have got to get up here, meet me where I'm at. I ain't coming back. Nope, Jesus, I don't hear nothing. Matter of fact, I'm changing my name. Give me a new name here. What new name can I go with? Because they calling on this dude name. I'm not going back there. Look, hold on. For I so despoiled them of their talents, they were as helpless as infants, and many of them wicked in the extreme. Nevertheless, I accepted that which I could not escape. I toiled with them hundreds of years, restoring them as well as I could. And in time, a ray of happiness came to me in the hope that in hundreds of years to come, I should find my way out. But alas me, darkness, Aji, came upon my already dark heaven. My evil ones, such as I had slaughtered on earth, came upon me for vengeance sake. That's why you shouldn't murder, because they said, oh, you think you're getting away with it here and you beat the courts? No, those bodies that you murder, oh, they got time on you. They got time on you in atmosphere. And you think you got away. No, you're gonna pay the full price and they're gonna get you, right? They are waiting on you. Y'all seen the movie Ghost? They put a lot of truth in movies. But alas me, darkness, Aji came upon my already dark heaven. My evil ones, such as I had slaughtered on earth, came upon me for vengeance sake. Anarchy overflooded me and my people. They became very demons of madness, and they seized me and bound me and bruised me and suffocated me with horrid smells, millions of them. And their curses pierced me like poison arrows. Long I fought them, and I cried out unto thee and to Jehovah. But alas, I was in hell. None could hear my prayers. For days and months and years I held out, but only to experience new and more terrible horrors. And I really love how Owaspi gets into hells and how it really explains it. Christianity could benefit to some of the heavenly insight that's given on hells, and things would make a whole lot more sense. Listen, but alas, I was in hell. None could hear my prayers. For days and months and years, I held out only to experience new and more terrible horrors. How long this woe was upon me, I know not. I only remember that my soul sickened within me, and I felt a sinking and a fainting like an endless death that could not extinguish me. To me, it seemed like 10,000 ages. Suddenly, I find myself here, distracted before thee, thou holy son of the great spirit. Now he calling creator. When at first he was like, who is Moses and who is this God? Who I know not creator, I'm creator. Don't you see my kingdom? Now he said, suddenly I find myself here distracted before thee, thou holy son of the great spirit. Whence came I? What hath occurred? Or is this but a spell of delirious dream? And will I relapse again into yonder terrible nightmare of horrors? How can I go hence that my old kingdom come not upon me? Do they not wait here about somewhere to seize me again for renewed torments? Oh, teach me, thou Moses, how can I fulfill thy righteous judgment and not be entrapped again and perhaps forever? Moses said, I will give thee a new name, and I will clothe thee in garments of my own making, so they will rather flee from thee than come upon thee. And Moses gathered up of the yellow cloud-like mantle and made a mantle and clothed Nugon, and he named him, I screwed this name up before, and I think Key corrected me, but I forgot again how to pronounce it. I'm about to say something stupid, y'all. Hold on. I'm going to spell it first. Illaes. Elias? Elias? Is it Elias? Hold on. Illaes. Is it Elias? Is that how you pronounce it? If I remember correctly, I think she said the proper way to pronounce it is Elias. It's Illaes. Did I say that right? Somebody let me know. Okay. And Moses gathered up of the yellow cloud-like mantle and made a mantle and clothed Nugon, and he named him Elias, signifying servant of light. And after that, he was provided with 10,000 co-laborers as assisted by Gaphaniah and sent back to earth on his mission. And God appointed 100 messengers unto Pharaoh, that word might be transmitted every month to paradise. And that is where we're going to pause at on reading about Pharaoh and Moses and how Moses had to repent for the curse that he put on Pharaoh with the slaughtering of the lamb during Passover that caused him to go into this deep state many years. So now we know Pharaoh is on a cleanup mission, or Elias. I think that's how you say it, Elias. Y'all precious Jews, shalom, shalom. Okay, so I said it about right. Nazarene saying thank you. Elias is spelled. I was saying the Lades. I'm like, I know y'all was laughing like, this girl, her pronunciation, screwing up all the words in the book. It's spelled Illaes, so it's Elias. Thank you, Nazarene Singh. All right, y'all. Wasn't that good though? That was amazing. Okay, so put a marker there, right? And if you don't have a WASP, you absolutely have to get you a copy. You can get this from Amazon for $30. If you're a Prime member, you get a bit of a discount. I've seen it for like $24, $27, $28, but get it. Now listen, when we had started reading it as a group, with us reading it and Selah and them reading it and Malachi going back and forth, there was like this, we created a bit of an uproar and it depleted the stock. So they were out of these for a few weeks and nobody could get one. And the Elois, they got more in and everything. So now they got a good supply of them. And I know some of the Elois actually come to the channel from time to time and they watch us here, which I'm like, oh snap. And I talked to them a couple times in the email. All right, listen. So let's go back. We got all the way over there because who was we at? Back in here in the Nazarene book of Genesis and the secret Nazarite scroll. Oh, over here we was talking about awakening somebody from a deep sleep. And that was the example. Jamil had asked the question. According to OWASP and what we understand now, and according to Creator and the order of things, there's always a way to develop and come back from a deep state. It may be a long process, but nobody's going to burn in hell forever. And I'd be really glad when we get to that part and start going through the hells, and it explains to you what the hells are and how people make hells themselves, right? And even people that go there and they're waiting for you and they create stuff, and when you come, especially if you've been like this really nasty person, and there's a lot of bad blood you create and you murdered people, they're waiting for you, right? That's literally going to be a hell for you. And it goes in explaining why Creator allows it to happen. I'm like, bro, you don't see what they're doing, but you thought you got away with it on earth. Like, there's a perfect balance throughout the universe. And going through that helped me answer a lot of questions that I had about some of the imbalances that we see. So a wise speed really shines a lot of light on a lot of the questions we ask about the imbalances and the injustices. It just makes sense. Like, you feel the truth deep down in your shana, like it resonates, like, and it just like makes sense, right? Because you got missing pieces of the puzzle, which through religion they take away the heavenly portion of it, and they just give you the earthly. We just pass the earth along, forget about the spirit. No, yep, you might have a spirit, you might not, we don't know. Right? And so that's how we get all discombobulated with religion and understanding salvation and all this other stuff, right? So if you don't have it, y'all, it is really, if you are serious about your spiritual growth, not just being religious or supernatural, but if you really want to develop your spirit in the light of Creator, these are two awesome references I recommend. I ain't saying you got to get it, and I ain't getting paid from none of it. When I get stuff, I share with y'all the same link that I use to purchase my stuff. Or if we have free ones, we'll share the PDFs. Some of the things we get is in our private group, and we put it in the file section. So if you join it, make sure you ask the questions, agree to the rules of the group, right? Otherwise, we're going to have to decline you with feedback and tell you why we didn't let you in the group. Right? But you got to answer the questions, and you have to agree to the community rules, because some of the information that we share is sensitive, right? But it's for your study, and we expect you to be adults and be grown-ups and use it appropriately. Okay, so let's go back here. Where we at? 8:17. Oh my gosh, we've been here almost 2 hours. Oh, it don't feel like that. We have been here 1 hour and 43 minutes. Okay, back here, we ain't gonna finish this chapter today either. We're gonna have to break this up into a third day. We were next lifetime here. Okay, we read all that. I just went back there. You know what? It's 3:43, and I don't think there are any more footnotes. Well, it's a couple, but they're really short. You know what? I think we might be able to finish this. Let me just go ahead and keep reading. Okay, so verse 2, I think it was 299. Second salvation. Oh, let's go back to 294. Okay. Lo, if those of the second salvation were placed in the bright light of Elohim, they would be burned by the light, for they are not ready. But their belief and faith has made them ready to receive the gift of continued existence in the mother ovum, or earth, according to the placement of Elohim. And that placement will be wise. They will be placed where they need to be to learn the lessons at hand, and that placement will be merciful. They will not be placed in rooms of great darkness, but in rooms of dim light, right? What we just kind of saw here in Owaski, right? Because too much bright light when you're not ready could hurt you. So dim it a little bit and let us bring you up slowly, right? And you'll get brighter and brighter. And that placement will be merciful. They will not be placed in rooms of great darkness, but in rooms of dim light. And in their next lifetime, perhaps they will receive the true halakha and become ready to receive the third salvation. And here, next lifetime, remember the example, the definition of being born again, right? Not coming back, living this earth life again, but each phase of life, you're literally born again. You pass from your father into your mother, you're born again into your mother, then you grow in her womb, and then you're born again into the earth, and then you grow in the earth mother's womb, and then we're born again. We call it death here, but they call it life there, and we're born again into the and of being born again, lifetimes, right? And in their next lifetime, perhaps they will receive the true halakha and become ready to receive the third salvation. Those who are aware of their relationship with Elohim and regard it lovingly with great belief and faith, even unto discipleship under the yoke of the true halakha, such as have the third salvation, they will have the gift of eternal life and the bright light of Elohim. Wherefore the third salvation is called Penimi, Penimi, which means internal light. And after Penimi is reference number 47. 47 at the bottom says the Hebrew term Penimi means internal light. Yea, even when such a one walks in a dark world on a mission of mercy, the Lord and Lady are with him. For we live in our disciples, and they live in us. And when not on a mission of mercy, our disciples shall even be in the presence of our bodies in El Kush. And El Kush is a name for a higher level in the heavens, El Kush. For behold, though Cush has been attacked on earth, we shall raise it to be a heaven above this world, and it will be called El Cush, and it shall be the Nazarene heaven for this world. Nazarenes who live in El Cush shall be called El Cushites, and will have cherubim bodies. Lo, cherubim bodies are eternal bodies that need not die, and the Lord and Lady shall reside in El Cush in cherubim bodies, even as we reside in countless heavenly abodes throughout Beit-Sa. Be not amazed that our spirits reside in many bodies, for our spirits are powerful beyond your comprehension, and we desire to be with our children in countless worlds, even simultaneously. Lo, the Beit-Sa is vast, and it is needful that the Lord and Lady were countless bodies to visit the countless worlds. But be not dismayed, Abdiel, thinking this is not the true Lord and Lady standing before me even now. For I tell you truly, the Lord and Lady are fully present in each of our bodies in the countless worlds. Yea, there is only one Lord and one Lady, though our spirits manifest simultaneously in countless bodies and countless worlds. And when we desire to be seen on earth, we can appear in human form. But to appear in human form is not needful that we wear human. But to appear in human form, it is not needful that we appear. I'm sorry, I keep reading it wrong. But to appear in human form, it is not needful that we wear human flesh, for a powerful being may appear to be flesh without truly becoming flesh. We learn about that in the Wild Spirit. Remember when I think it was a couple of them, but Zarathustra, they're given. A matter of fact, the Creator talks about like when somebody passes for like the first 3 days, they're given the ability, and I don't want to mess up the words, given the ability to manifest themselves, right? But it's like the first 3 days. But for those who have actually grown to higher levels spiritually, they'll literally be able at will, because they've learned about the elements, they'll be able to materialize a body and at will, like show themselves. We see a little bit of that in the New Testament, but without a lot of description and understanding of what's happening, whereas a WASP gives you the science of it. I'm just like, bro, I'm going to learn how to do this before I leave this earth, and that way my loved ones ain't just going to have 3 days, but I ain't going to be lingering around like a Druze or nothing like that. Y'all going to come find me off up in a college somewhere, right? Wherever they got books, libraries, history, that's where you're going to find me. I'm learning about the history, how all this works. Right? Okay, hold on. Okay. Verse 316. We almost died. Literally, it's a few more verses. But to appear in human form, it is not needful that we wear human flesh, for a powerful being may appear to be flesh without truly becoming flesh. Even now, Abdiel, the bodies of the Lord and Lady you gaze upon are not flesh, but a vision of flesh. You are seeing a vision of the flesh that the Lord and Lady will wear when we take human birth. For we have seen the plan of satanic intervention in this world, and we will counter that plan with divine intervention, even the incarnation of the Lord and Lady. And that incarnation will not be a vision of the Lord and Lady, And that incarnation, I need some water. Hold on. I might have some questions about this. Hold on, let me keep reading. Okay. And that incarnation will not be a vision of the Lord and Lady. Lo, we will wear human flesh. For Lucifer shall enter the stream of human seed in this world, and that intervention will be countered by being born as humans and dying as humans. We will purify the between lives regions. We will let me go back. By being born as humans and dying as humans, we will purify the between lives regions that Satan will pollute. And because Lucifer will father a child in order to pollute the human seed with his tendencies, the Lord and Lady likewise will make a baby to bless the human bloodstream with our tendencies. This infusion of our tendencies will not be extreme, for we desire not to hinder free will, but desire to preserve free will by balancing the Luciferian infusion. Interesting. Well, I mean, based on like what we read in Genesis and how they came and had sex with the women, I'm just kind of running this stuff through my head, y'all. Just thinking about some stuff. Okay, we'll keep reading. We almost done. Jasmine, have a great day at work. Okay, all right. I got to go back and look into more of this. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading though. This infusion of our tendencies will not be extreme, for we desire not to hinder free will, but desire to preserve free will by balancing the Luciferian infusion. Yea, our child shall be the cup of our presence, filled with the wine of our blood, and his seed will be fruitful and will counter the satanic seed. Thus will the sacred choice be preserved, that each man and woman be free to choose good or evil, for Satan desires to take that choice away. And after his lifetime as man, our holy child shall become the walker between worlds, for he will lead the hidden arm of our church, moving freely between earth and El Cush. Wherefore he will be called by those of earth El Cushite, the hidden power of Elohim. And after the hidden power of Elohim is reference 48, it says, our home study lessons include a discussion of the possible link between the historical prophet El-Kazi, Elchasai. Our home study lessons include a discussion of the possible link between the historical prophet El-Kazi and the son of Yeshua and Miriam. What? Jesus had kids? No. I don't know. Look, I'm just reading this for the first time, y'all. Listen, I'm gonna need to get to this point so I can let y'all know what's in here. If y'all got to it, help a sister out. Where can I find it? I need to look at this. Okay, that's what that footnote. Okay, we're gonna be pulling it up. We got to look into it. Okay. Verse 330. Wherefore he will be called by those of earth El Cushite, the hidden power of Elohim, but his birth name given by the Lord and Lady shall be Gebiah, Gebiya, for he is the cup of our presence. And after Gebiah is reference 49, and after the cup of our presence is reference 50. I'm gonna read them both. The Hebrew word Gebiah means goblet or cup. It is pronounced Geb-e-yah. And reference number 50 says, see doctrine 8 in our book of doctrines. 50. I actually had that out yesterday and was going through it. Okay. All right, so I'm not going to pull that up because it's, hold on, let me look at it real quick. So I can see it, y'all. It's a chapter 8 in our book of doctrines. 6-8, which begins on page 118. It says, Doctrine 8, the rejection of Magdalene and the divine feminine by Peter, Paul, and their mainstream form of Christianity. Oh my gosh, we got to read this. I don't know if I'm going to read it right now, but because we strapped for time. Let me just see how many pages this is. We might need to read this. Ebonite Christianity, all. We might need to read this. I might just need to read this chapter. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, snap. Oh, shoot. We're going to have to read it. I'm going to have to look. Look, anything. I heard that talk of time that Joshua had a wife. Anything is possible for me now today. I know, right? We're putting everything on the table. Okay, this is a pretty long chapter. Listen, we're going to have to read this. Like, we're going to have to read this tomorrow because it's bringing out a lot of stuff and it's going into some of the shenanigans of Paul and Peter and what they did to the women. We got to read it. Like, it would not be good stewardship and research if we didn't read this. Okay, this is also, it says Essene Teachings, the Book of Doctrines, right? Okay, so this also you can order when you order your Holy Megillah. When you call them, ask them for this and for this. I'm gonna share this. I know I said I was gonna share it yesterday, but I'm gonna share it today here shortly when we get done. So that way, when you call, even if you already got the Megillah, you can call back and order these as well because you can't get them from anywhere else except for them directly. Okay, so definitely to further this footnote, I'm gonna finish reading this chapter, which is only a few more verses, but tomorrow I'm gonna come back here and reread this footnote, and then we're gonna kind of start in here and we're gonna go through this, right? The rejection of Magdalene and the divine feminine by Paul, Peter, and their mainstream form of Christianity. Oh my gosh. Like what I just saw skimming through here. Hold on, let me put this here. Y'all, so y'all might want to be present the next couple of days while we go through that. Okay, let me finish this. Okay, that footnote was 50. See Doctrine 8 in our Book of Doctrines, and that was back up at verse 331. I'm on page 122. Verse 331 says, "But his birth name given by the Lord and Lady shall be Gibeah, for he is the cup of our presence. Behold, all those of the third salvation shall join the Lord and Lady in opposing the work of Satan in this world. And when we have completed our work on this world, such disciples, having persevered unto friendship, shall help us in other worlds, and will always be with us, even unto the blessed day of play in heaven most high. Wherefore the third salvation is also called Ha-Akodoth Zohar, which means the splendor of unity. And after Zohar is reference 51. And it says the Hebrew term for Ha-Akodoth Zohar means the splendor of unity and is one of two Nazarene sectarian terms for the third salvation. Verse 335, behold, it is the duty of the Yair. Remember, Yair is the high priest. Behold, it is the duty of the Yair to send forth the Kara HaKodesh, the holy call. After Kara HaKodesh is reference 52, which repeats it. The Hebrew term Kara HaKodesh is Q-A-R-A, HaKodesh. The Hebrew term Kara HaKodesh means the holy call. Behold, it is the duty of the Yair to send forth the Kara HaKodesh, the holy call, which is the invitation to all seekers to receive the yoke of the saving halakha. After seekers is reference 53, and it says the Hebrew word here translated as seekers is mavakshim. Verse 336, lo, this is the call of salvation. Let the Yair and his Talmudim, or students, call the Mavakshim, the seekers, to salvation. Yea, let the seekers come to the water baptism and be saved from the deep sleep. Let those who believe the baptism of belief, which is the second salvation, for even the mockers have the first salvation. Then for those who receive the yoke of the halakah, let them perform sevenfold repentance, for they shall receive the baptism by fire, and their sins shall be forgiven. Yea, and when the baptism by fire is sealed in the waters of forgiveness, the Lady Christ shall enter the heart in a new and powerful way, and the Lord Christ shall enter the forehead in a new and powerful way, and they will both descend. Oh my, okay, so I was about to kick up some dust right here, but I'm glad I kept reading because it's talking about the chakras and okay, so boom, wait a minute. Okay, so I know I be getting on the Christians a lot about accepting Jesus into your heart. Oh, something just clicked. Wait a minute. Oh, it's literally talking about cleaning. Okay, I get it. But you got to understand the chakras a little bit and the esoteric understanding behind the Bible story that they give you. It's not literally Jesus come into my heart. You're literally cleansing yourself, activating the tree of life on the inside of you, right? And that life, it activates the heart chakra, the third eye, the forehead. Oh my, okay. Look, okay. I just had this little bit of a revelation. Hold on. Okay, we literally got like 4 more verses. Let me read this again. Verse 339. Oh, snap. Okay. Look, so now I got a little bit more insight now when I'm talking to people that may not necessarily understand the scriptures. Remember how I think it was Philip in the book of Acts. He was out there. It was a guy. Was it Philip in the chariot? It was a guy in the chariot. And I think Philip came along. Was it Philip or was it Stephen? I forget who it was, but he was sitting out there in the chariot or whatever, out there in the desert, reading the scriptures. And then one of the dudes from Israel popped up. Do you know what you're reading? No, I don't know what it is I'm reading. You know, well, let me bring enlightenment to you what's going on here, my brother. Right? Okay, this is like one of those moments. Listen. Verse 339. Let those who believe receive the baptism of belief, which is the second salvation, for even the mockers have the first salvation. Then for those who will receive the yoke of the halakah, let them perform sevenfold repentance, for they shall receive the baptism by fire, and their sins shall be forgiven. And here it go right here. Yea, when the baptism by fire is sealed in the waters of forgiveness, the Lady Christ shall enter the heart in a new and powerful way, and the Lord Christ shall enter the forehead in a new and powerful way, and they will both descend to the base of the spine, which is the mercy seat, that rise upon the throne chariot, even unto the crown, where they will reign side by side in power and glory. And if you understand about the chrism that's released from the brain, the cerebral spinal fluid that literally flows up and down the spinal cord every month, it makes its return. Talked about bits and pieces, and they call it the Christ and the, oh my gosh, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself, bro. Listen, this is so good. Okay, I know I keep saying okay, but I'm just like super excited. It's a bunch of lights coming on in my head about this. Some of the pieces of this puzzle that we got up here is it's lighting up for me. Okay, hold on. I know what pieces go where. Hold up. Wait a minute. Hold on. Thank Pamela. Okay. I'm gonna make sure I share this in order today. Hold on. Okay. Hey, son. Okay. All right. Okay, y'all. We literally, the last verse is 343, 341. I'm gonna read this one more time. We're gonna be done. All right. Okay, son. Okay. Yeah, and this makes sense. Go back and read this towards what page was that I told you, where it was going through the chakras as it opens, what happens on the inside of you as the tree of life is made alive on the inside of you. Oh my gosh. Okay, listen. Yea, and when the baptism by fire is sealed in the waters of forgiveness, The Lady Christ shall enter the heart in a new and powerful way, and the Lord Christ shall enter the forehead in a new and powerful way, and they will both descend down to the base of the spine, which is the mercy seat, and then rise upon the throne chariot, even unto the crown where they will reign. Right? You downloading, boom, spiritual insight is open. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then, hold on. Hold on. Let me just read it over again. Verse 341. Yea, and when the baptism by fire is sealed in the waters of forgiveness, the Lady Christ shall enter the heart in a new and powerful way, and the Lord Christ shall enter the forehead in a new and powerful way, and they will both descend down the base of the spine, which is the mercy seat, and then rise upon the throne chariot, even unto the crown where they will reign side by side in power and glory. And also remember, during this period, it happens once a month. During those times, and that's when we shared the calendar, when your the zodiac calendar comes into play with your sun sign during the moon cycles, right? So during that time, when your sun sign, when the moon is in the phase of your sun sign, that's when the chrism oil is released in those particular people of that of like all the Aries or all the Geminis, all the Taurus, like all you, when you understand all of that in these groups of people and how they act almost identical, the same size, everybody know all Geminis like they're the same. There's like hidden truth, but all of this is a part of a bigger puzzle, right? And it's a reason why they all act alike and have these same types of personalities with little differences, but it's a science to all of it, right? Okay. And then rise upon the throne chariot, even unto the crown, where they will reign side by side in power and glory. And for those who persevere in discipleship unto friendship, I say persevere in friendship unto twinship. And remember, twinship is theom, not a physical likeness, but literally you become a Christed one. When you understand this process of the cerebral spinal fluid flowing down to the base and coming back up to the crown every single month, enlightening the pineal gland, which is why with your instrument, you have to feed it life-giving foods. All of these things play a part in your becoming a friend of the Creator. True discipleship, true theoma or twinship, becoming a Christed one. It has to do with your everything about you, the life that you feed yourself, eye gates, ear gates, the food you consume, because all of this affects that cerebral spinal fluid that's released every single month. It makes this descent, it goes down and then it comes back up, right? And then your birth month, you get a double portion of this. And I don't even know how that works, but it works. And I looked at people and studied people, different ones, and you can tell those who have understood that process is because their life, especially if they have a gift in a certain thing, it begins to be illuminated because they started tapping in, they started cleaning up their lifestyle, how they eat, how they live, even their sexual nature, they got that under control. And when this process is happening during that time of the month for everybody, men and women, you should be mindful of your sexual intercourse, because orgasms will deplete that energy that's being built up, right? So I'm not saying stop having sex, but during this period, become aware of what's happening and try not to diffuse the cycle before it happens. Like, you're going to need that energy that's building up. And when you release in that way, you divert the energy, and you got to start over again. You got to wait till the next month, right? So be careful. We're going to get into that just a little taste in the coming days, and I'm gonna share some stuff about it. But I'm gonna share a couple videos. Give me about 20 minutes after we stop, and everything I said I was gonna share yesterday, I'm gonna share a little bit about this as well. Okay, last two verses, y'all. And for those who persevere in discipleship unto friendship, I say persevere in friendship unto twinship. For behold, in the royal bridal chamber within the crown, Queen Janah shall give birth to the child of King Jadeh, a twin brother of Elohim. Let the younger brother, yea, and the younger sister continue always in the guidance of Janah and Jadeh, even unto the blessed day of play in heaven most high. And that is the end of this chapter. This was amazing. We're not finished with it yet. Because I said yesterday, we're going to expound on this footnote here for this chapter. Is it 8? Chapter 8. Here in this book, we're going to read this. So just kind of add to our understanding of everything. I hope y'all enjoyed this as much as I did. Because I don't like to talk to be talking, although sometimes I will like what I'm doing now. But let's go ahead and end this. I'm done. I know y'all got stuff to do. But I'm super excited about this. So give me a few minutes. I'm going to share all this, y'all. But anyway, it is Monday, April the 10th, 2023, day 13 of year 5 of reading through books, laws, and prophets. And of the 5-year consecutive day count, it is day 1396. And today we finished reading up chapter 15 in the Nazarene book of Genesis. And we began on we started at verse like 222. Yeah, 222, which is on page 115, and we went all the way to page 123. But we also, due to the reading today, which I'm kind of glad it worked out this way, because we went back to OYSP anyway and read a good portion. So if you was here from the beginning, we didn't start off with OYSP so we could finish the rest of this. But as we got halfway through here, it led us back to OYSP, and we spent about 30 minutes over there reading through that, getting an understanding of Moses and what happened, a deep state of sleep, what this was teaching us over here. So it's really, really good how it all came back around anyway. All right. So, and though in there, that was that portion, it was in OYSP. It was in God's book of Ezra, page... I'm sorry, y'all. Israelites. Okay. Chapter 16 on page 593. Chapter 16, page 593, all the way to page 596. And it's more history in there about Israel and what happened, but this is specifically about Passover and why the lamb came into play. And so at this point, you should understand that a little bit better. And next Passover, a diligent student would make some adjustments. I'm going to just say that. I ain't telling you what you got to do, but as you learn more, you should begin to apply the truth to your life and walk in the higher light that you're learning. Because remember, we're supposed to be ever progressing, getting better, right? All right, beautiful people. So with that being said, Father, we thank you for more insight on the chakras and Jesus coming into your heart. Y'all. Okay. Hold on. What you say, Tabitha? Pam is on Ethereal Fire Family. Hold on, wait. It jumped up. It moved. Oh, she's going to land this vessel safe. I try to be careful. I'm gonna bring y'all back in softly. Sometimes I take y'all on ups and downs. I get super excited about stuff. Yo, just me, right? Just me said that explains the sex attacks in today's movies and music robbing us. Listen. Okay, I ain't gonna get too deep into it. Which is why we all adults here. I ain't gonna say it's a sin. I'm not gonna tell you that. I'll let you think about this. This is why masturbation should be a no-no, especially if you understand the spiritual significance and what's happening to you every time you deplete yourself of said juices. Like you will listen. I know I said that to be funny, but this particular fluid that's in your body, that cerebral spinal fluid, you only get so much of it in a lifetime, right? And people, okay, so this could be bordering on medical. I'm glad my medical disclaimer came up. Okay, so based on some of the research that I've done with this and looking into this and what happens and how when you release and you have sex with, there's so much truth to what Jasmine just said about the over sexualized nature of everything, right? Because if you're constantly doing this and they make you think like this is a thing, and they do it with food, it's getting you all off track, out of balance, and you're using up the most precious thing that that you were given beside your spirit. Is literally that oil. It's an oil that flows through the body, the cerebral spinal fluid, and you only get so much of it. There's ways it can be used up, and when it's used up, y'all, when your body no longer produces that, your spirit detaches from your body because it can no longer reside here. We're gonna really get into this. I got some stuff. I'm gonna try and stay on track and kind of follow up. So y'all can follow along, because sometimes I be jumping around and stuff because there's so much stuff that I've learned where the pieces are coming together. So I gotta have it laid out so I stay on point. And if I jump off to a story, I need to have a point to come back to make sure we hit everything. But we're gonna get into it, but I'm gonna share a little bit of it. But that's why we are attacked, not just with the sexual overtones and everything, but with the different types of food and the commercials, fast food, every corner, all of this stuff bombarding us, because we have to literally, it's like a jungle sometimes, all the time. And our spirit literally has to wade through the jungle to find the path, right? You got to pass through all the food and all this good stuff. And it's like, bro, just get me to the path of life. But it's a part of the process of growth. Like, you have to be able to grow and develop and become strong enough to bypass those things, to stay, and like, you have to choose to stay on the path of life so you can keep growing. But it will disrupt you. Yes.
The funny part about it all is a simple fact.
And that's it, family.
Simple fact. Wait, we don't actually ever really lose our physical body because, like the Watchy said, we can just start to say back.
If you make it to that point, right? If you make it to that point.
But I think almost everybody is going to make it to that point because that's just a part of the journey. You have to learn.
Well, eventually, it'll be amazing if you learn how to sargas before you actually turn your body back over to Mother Earth and you are born again, fully spirit. Yes. Now, that'll be amazing. That's what I aspire to do before I turn my body over to the earthly mother. Learn how to sargas and walk through walls. All of this is a higher science and understanding of materialization of elements. And first of all, you can't do that if you're a flesh eater and meat, because your body is too heavy and your spirit is too heavy. And your spirit will not be able to align your instrument to these particular elements. You won't be able to materialize and dematerialize yourself if you're carrying other flesh inside your body.
But you want to know the sad thing?
But we're going to go ahead and get out of here, y'all.
The government put millions of meat species.
It's like a junk sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It ain't really, seriously, the government can do everything they want, but we still have freedom of choice. We still get, we do. We do. I get what you're saying.
This stuff, food and things, we don't have control over. We have control over what we intake, but we can simply make a choice, because we don't have to eat it. Just like they say, you eat flesh or you die. I mean, you can be like, well, I don't want to die. You can choose to eat flesh, or you can choose to not violate the principles of life. And this is because of the choice we made, they kill you. But at least you didn't violate the principles of life. We kind of talked about that a little bit in here when it was talking about the governments and living within communities. And when you're living within a community, you should follow the rules of the community unless it violates the laws of Creator and life. And then you can disagree or buck against it or whatever. But it said it better than what I just said, but that's essentially what it was saying. All right, y'all beautiful people, that's it. You wonder if Dr. Savior was able to sargas? I don't know, because if he did, he should have sargas himself out of that airport interrogation room. Sorry. But I don't know. I think he understood how to do some things, but I don't know if he did that, because I would have sargas myself right on up out of there. All right, beautiful people, that's it. Go ahead and get out of here. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning, bright and early, 6:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And everybody else that came in late, shalom. Thanks for hanging out in the background. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I love y'all. Peace.
But I see through you. space. I got Milky Way for blood, evolution in my veins. I'm gone, I've been far away. I'm illuminated now, making moves.
What did you just do to me?
I pushed your astral form out of your physical form.
What's in that tea? Psilocybin? LSD?
It's just tea. With a little honey.
What just happened?
For a moment, you entered the astral dimension.
What?
A place where the soul exists apart from the body.
Why are you doing this to me?
To show you just how much you don't know. Open your eyes.
Been dreaming about flying for a long time. I had a vision from the birds, they want a cold sign.
What's happening? This isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real, this is...
Dreaming about flying for a long time. I had a vision from the birds, they want a cold sign.
His heart rate is getting dangerously high.
He looks all right to me. You think that this universe is all there is?
I don't need gravity, I don't need
What mysteries lie beyond the reach of your senses? Existence, mind and matter meet. Thoughts shape reality.
I don't need gravity, I just need growth. I am not really here, I'm an intrusion. I don't swim or sink, I just float.
Some benevolent and life-giving, filled with malice and hunger. Dark places where powers older than time and waiting.
I don't swim or sink, I just float.
Who are you in this vast multiverse?
I don't need gravity, I just need gravity, I just need growth.
Have you seen that before in a gift shop?
I don't need gravity, I just need growth.
Teach me.
No.
It's an earthquake rumble. I won't ever fall, never stumble. And I don't need to be humble. Break down walls like Jericho crumble.